What if pretty much everything we've been told about what it takes to be an innovator is just plain wrong? Today, we're diving into Adam Grant's amazing book, Originals, to totally tear down the myths we all have about where those game-changing ideas really come from.
No, really, just for a second. When you hear the word original or innovator, what's the picture that pops into your head? For most of us, it's a very specific and, let's be honest, very dramatic image.
Yep, that's the one. We picture the maverick, the rebel who bets the entire farm on one single idea. Someone who's completely fearless and just brushes off rejection. But what if that whole stereotype is actually what's holding us back? What if it's just not true?
Okay, so Adam Grant argues that the first key to being original isn't some superhuman power you're born with. Nope, it's actually a super simple everyday habit, just choosing to question the default settings of our lives.
I know, this is going to sound a little weird, but stick with me. There was this fascinating study of over 30,000 customer service agents, and it uncovered this huge clue about what makes originals tick. And believe it or not, it all came down to the web browser they used.
So the researchers found this one key difference. See, one group of employees just used whatever browser came pre-installed on their computer, Internet Explorer or Safari. But the other group, they took this one tiny but really important step. They went out of their way to find and download a different browser, like Firefox or Chrome. A tiny active initiative, right? But it pointed to something way bigger. And get this, that tiny act predicted massive differences in their job performance. The folks who downloaded Firefox or Chrome, they stayed at their jobs 15% longer, they were 19% less likely to call in sick, and they had way higher sales and customer satisfaction ratings. The results were just, wow, absolutely stunning. And here's the big insight, the real takeaway. This had absolutely nothing to do with being good with computers. Both groups had basically the same technical skills. The difference was their mindset. The Firefox and Chrome users, they'd already shown that they had a habit of questioning the default, and they brought that exact same mindset to their jobs. They'd find better ways to solve problems instead of just following the script.
Turns out, this mindset actually has a name, Vujade. It's the total opposite of déjà vu. It's that moment you look at something you've seen a million times before, like, say, the insane price of eyeglasses, and you suddenly stop and ask, wait, why is it like this? That right there is the starting line for originality. It's not about being a genius. It's just about being curious enough to challenge the way things are. So this brings us to our second big reality check. And this is where we're going to debunk the biggest myth of them all. This idea that original thinkers are these reckless, all-or-nothing gamblers. We just love those stories of entrepreneurs dropping out of college and going for broke, right? But Adam Grant's research shows us something completely shocking. The most successful originals are not risk takers. In fact, they're masters at getting rid of risk. Okay, this number is wild. A study tracked thousands of entrepreneurs, and it found that the ones who started their company while they kept their day job had 33% lower odds of failure than the ones who quit everything. You heard that right. Playing it safe actually made them more likely to succeed. And this isn't just some weird statistical fluke. It's a pattern you see everywhere with some of the world's biggest innovators. Phil Knight kept his accounting job for years after he started Nike. Apple's Steve Wozniak was so nervous about leaving his steady job at HP that his friends literally had to talk him into it. Even John Legend was a management consultant after he'd already released his first album. They all built a safety net first. So why does this work? Well, the psychological reason is something called a risk portfolio. The whole idea is that if you have security in one part of your life, like a steady paycheck, it actually gives you the freedom to be more creative and take chances somewhere else. You're balancing your portfolio. You're not putting all your chips on one risky bet. Let me give you the perfect example, Warby Parker. These 4 students completely upended the eyewear industry and built a billion-dollar company. Now, from the outside, that sounds like a story of bold, incredible risk-taking. But the reality was something else entirely. It's pretty funny. Adam Grant himself almost didn't invest in the company because he thought they were being way too cautious. As the co-founder Neil Blumenthal admitted, they hedged their bets constantly. They worked on the business in their spare time, they took internships, and they even lined up full-time jobs for after they graduated, just in case Warby Parker didn't work out. This quote from Linda Rottenberg, the CEO of Endeavor, just hits the nail on the head.
The most successful innovators aren't the ones who just leap off a cliff. They're the ones who tiptoe to the edge, check their parachute 3 times, and have a giant safety net waiting at the bottom. They take the risk out of risk-taking.
So, what's the big idea we should all take away from this? It's that we need to totally rewire how we think about originality. It's not some magic trait you're either born with or you're not. It's something way more available to all of us. It's a choice. I just love this quote because it makes it all feel so human. The people who really change the world, they're not fearless. They feel the exact same doubts and anxieties that we all feel. The only real difference is that they choose to act anyway, in spite of that fear. And that right there is the most powerful message in Adam Grant's work. Being original isn't a personality trait. It's a choice you make. It's the choice to question a default, the choice to manage your risks in a smart way, and the choice to act even when you're scared. So I'll just leave you with this question. And look, it doesn't have to be some huge, monumental thing. It could be a small process at work, a routine you have at home, or even the browser on your computer. What is just one default in your world that you can look at with fresh eyes and just ask, is there a better way?